Good evening and welcome to the Board of Selectmen's Monday, April 11th, 2022 at the Warcoit Meeting Room, Mashpee Town Hall, 16 Great Neck Road North, Mashpee, Mass. We are being broadcast live on local cable channel 18 and we're streaming live on the Town of Mashpee website, www.mashpeema.gov/channel 18. It is 6:30 and we're convening an open session. We'll start with a Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'd like a moment of silence for peace. Thank you. Okay, we will start with public comment. Wendy Williams.
Hi, most of you know me. I'm Wendy Williams. I've lived in town for 33 years or maybe more. I don't really remember. I'm very interested in conservation. I'm an author, published 7 books. And so right now, my project here in Mashpee is to try to clean up the environment. Step 1 is to get a candidate elected to the select board who's interested in the environment. Chad Smith, this weekend, had a number of signs stolen from him around the Mashpee Rotary.
As we all did.
I have tried. Carol, you can have all the time you want to talk when I'm done. All right, I'm talking now. He had a number of signs taken from him by the Mashpee Rotary. I have dug into these problems over the last 2 days and tried to piece together who took it and why they took it. And I have made polite phone calls and been hung up on to ask that this problem be taken care of. To my knowledge, it has not been taken care of. I've been told that it was taken care of very recently, which would be maybe in the last 15 minutes since I've been here. But I want to make clear, stealing a political sign, no matter who you steal it from, is a crime. Tomorrow morning, I will be going to the police station, and I will be filing charges against the person who took these signs. The only way you can keep me from doing that is to make sure that you contact Chad sometime tonight and work out the problem. These are his signs. He paid for them. He's not getting very much in the way of campaign money, and I expect his phone calls that he has made to Mashpee Commons to be returned. Secondly, as we all know, the sewer that we all voted to build has been screwed up. It has been screwed up seriously, and I am fed up with this. As far as I'm concerned, the reason why it was screwed up is right here in front of me, Andy Gottlieb. He has been meeting in secret with members of the Sewer Commission and plotting strategies the rest of the town did not know about. And after he did that, he hand-delivered a secret letter to our town manager demanding that the town engineer be fired. Nobody knew about that. The selectmen did not know about that. No one on the sewer commission, except for perhaps for his 2 little plotters, knew about it, but nobody else knew about it. This sewer, Andy, is going to cost the town tens of millions of dollars. We're not paying for it unless things are open and above board. And if I were you, I would stop being the liaison to the board immediately. And that's what I have to say.
Well, you know what?
I don't want to hear it. You have plenty of time to talk. That was my time to talk, and I don't care what you say.
And I believe your time is over, is it not, Madam Chair?
Yes.
So,
all right, so then my time's
Wendy,
not over.
Please.
No, if you're going to reply to me and tell me why I'm wrong, then I will answer you. You and I can talk right here, right now, because I'm already upset about Chad's sign being stolen and the games that have been played, Andy. So I don't want to hear any more nonsense from you. Nothing. You have never seen me be this angry.
Madam Chair, can we move on to the,
Yes. Lisa Fry, public comment?
All right, are we closed on that subject?
We're closed.
Then you can have your meeting back.
Hi, Lisa.
Good evening. Lisa Fry, 40 Autumn Drive. I'm just wanted to address the board tonight because I have some concerns. There's been a lot of talk about Phase 2. And I'm going back to the last town meeting, May 2021, when Phase 1 was approved by everybody. And everybody wants clean water and all that sort of thing. And we know it's going to cost money, and the voters, we all, myself included, we all approved that. And it also said we may not need Phase 2, 3, 4, or 5, but if that time ever came, you'd come back to the voters and you'd discuss the reasons why we needed it. Then I started hearing talk about Phase 2, and so I said I thought we were just doing Phase 1. Went back and watched some of the tape from town meeting, and it did just say Phase 1. I also tried to look and see what Phase 2 is, and I'm not sure. I believe some of it has changed. I thought this was the original design of what Phase 1 was. I believe Phase 1 was scaled back in order to meet the $54 million that's been approved, along with a lot of other money. I don't want to oversimplify it. But then I heard talk of Phase 2. I was looking for what Phase 2 was, but I also believe a new design, a new phase, or Phase 2 has been So then I found a letter on the town website from former sewer chair Mike Raparez, that it was September 22nd, 2001, and it was addressed to the members of the Mashpee Select Board, and I'll just cut to the chase. It said that they were putting together an application to support Phase 1 of the town's wastewater treatment and sewering program. It goes on to say, we are also exploring ways to expand the area of and accelerate the timetable for projected Phase 2, focusing on remediation and protection of Mashpee's ponds as well as its estuaries. Everything we've been learning as a community in recent months accentuates the need to pursue a more ambitious timetable than originally planned. So I guess I'm just here tonight to say I'm concerned. I think everybody's behind Phase 1. I think more people would like to see how that's all going to work out financially, when it's built, how effective, when we need to go to a next phase. And I'm also concerned that if we're changing phases or redesigning phases, that we maybe have more of an open public forum. And I guess I would be concerned that the original Phase 1 would be finished first, which I believe included Town Hall and some other properties along here, down Meeting House Road, before we talk about a Phase 2 and then a different Phase 2. So I just would like to have a better understanding. And again, I'd like to see how Phase 1 works out, or we get a lot further into it, understand how the financing, costs, everything's going to happen before we take on anything else. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Marcy McGinnis?
Hi, I'm Marcia McGinnis. I live in Precinct 2. And I want to start by thanking Tom O'Hara for your comments about ARPA and for your advocacy for the town. That is much appreciated. I'm here to talk about Kelly's Beach very briefly. You have a little handout with a map of the beach and also a copy of some comments from the local homeowners association that abuts the beach. We have apparently at one point $500,000 on the table that was committed from the state. And as you know, the state is awash in money right now. My request, if you think it's appropriate, is to try to get that money for the improvement of the road to Kelly's Beach. It's interesting that I posted this on Facebook today, and there were some well-to-do people with million-dollar houses who objected to this because they apparently consider it a private preserve. Well, it's not. It's public beach. The roadway is public. And seems to me that having more money to support the beach, if anything, would be to an environmental advantage. Apparently, I guess that it's used now as a hangout. Maybe if there were money available to patrol it, that would be better for the beach and for the residents. So thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I respect the people in this room as much as anyone I ever met. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you, Mercy. John Falone?
Good evening. Thank you. For the record, I'm John Falone. I'm here as chair of the Mashpee Planning Board. Last Saturday, we kicked off the process of updating our local comprehensive plan with a visioning session at Mashpee Middle High School. This session was a first in a series designed to provide opportunities for residents to meet, discuss, debate, and ultimately inform any necessary updates to the plan. At our planning board meeting last week, the consultants hired by the town to assist with this process asked the planning board members to attend, if possible.
Excuse me, John, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Is there someone talking back there, please? Very disrespectful. I'm sorry, John, I truly apologize.
Thank you. Okay. At our planning board meeting last week, the consultants hired by the town to assist with this process asked the planning board members to attend if possible, to welcome attendees and help manage the logistics of this 3-hour session. The consultants also respectfully requested that planning board members not participate in the general discussion or the breakout sessions because having elected officials impart their opinions on the broader group would of course influence the discussions and thus the impact of the results. Throughout the morning, several planning board and select board members dropped in to show their support of the process and observe the activities. Unfortunately, planning board member Mary Wagon chose to ignore the consultant's request and actively participate in the discussions and the breakout sessions. And disappointingly, select board member David Whidden did the same. These are public sessions designed to gather feedback from the community. They are not a forum for elected officials to advance their personal agendas. To believe Ms. Wagon and Mr. Whedon's comments and opinions did not sway conversations and outcomes is absurd. In fact, the consultants confirmed to me that by actively participating in the discussions, Ms. Wagon and Mr. Whedon most certainly influenced the conversations and outcomes. The extent to which their participation tainted the results is for the consultants to determine. The residents of Mashpee, those in attendance on Saturday, and those who will engage throughout this process are perfectly capable of assessing the strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats that face our community. They are also capable of coming to decisions on their own about charting a course for our future growth and development. They do not need, nor should they be subjected to, the inherent influence of Mr. Whedon, Ms. Wagon, or any other elected official. The current LCP was written 24 years ago. Our community has changed significantly since then, and so, of course, updates to the plan are needed. The extent of those updates is for the community to decide. I encourage Select Board and Planning Board members to attend these public sessions, to listen and learn and support the process. I strongly suggest, as do the consultants, in no uncertain terms, that you not engage in the discussions because by doing so will distort the outcome. Elected officials will have plenty of opportunities to provide input. For reasons that should be obvious, these community sessions are not those opportunities. If any of this is unclear, please reach out to me directly. I'd be happy to clarify the process and your participation in it. As for the event itself, it was terrific. There was constructive conversation on a variety of topics, agreement, opposing views, and healthy debate. We desperately need more community participation. This is an exciting and critically important moment in time for our town. Please respect the process and allow the community to provide their input. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support as we move forward.
Madam Chair, if I may. I don't know where it's written that elected officials are not
John?
able to. John doesn't want to hear what I have to say. My comments, I'll let everyone know that my comments were to the process. I did not try to influence the decisions of the people or attendees in any way. My comments were directed at the process, and my show of disdain towards the woman that was facilitating the meeting, I believe her name was Carolyn, was because she was very rude to somebody, a well-respected member of the community, Tom Fadala, who was asking simple questions. His questions were point on, and the level of disrespect that this woman, self-proclaimed, is from New Jersey. She's not even a resident. She's not from here. And for John to come in and say that, you know, we don't have a voice because we're elected officials, I have no knowledge of that being written anywhere.
I didn't get the memo that I wasn't invited on Saturday.
You know, so I just want to make that clear. I think the process is not right. This LCP is an update to an existing LCP. It's not a reboot. It's not a brand new document. It's an update. And I didn't see where our achievements and failures are being factored in on how we met and achieved the goals and initiatives set out in the original LCP. We have failed on water quality, failed, absurdly failed. And so we have to look at the old document in order to inform the process to see where we need more teeth and how we can improve the process to achieve the goals and initiatives outlined in the plan. I did not try to influence anyone's opinion. My comments were directed to the process and the presentation that was being presented to us. And it was not right what I saw. There's no reflection on the past document to inform the new document. Thank you.
And I'll just go further to say, if anybody's opinion is swayed by any one of our presidents, Mary's presidents, or anybody else on the planning board, then I would suggest their opinion's not worth a hell of a lot. You got an opinion, have it, own it, pursue it, but don't let who's in the room be the determinator of what you think.
I'm also wondering if John's speaking on behalf of the whole planning board, or if was that a vote taken to come in here and represent the planning board, or is he speaking on his own accord as a planning board
I think
member?
he spanked you on your own.
So, and that's frowned upon, to speak on behalf of the committee when it wasn't taken to the committee for a deliberation and a vote to come in here and represent. That's wrong.
Meredith Harris. Good evening, Meredith.
Good evening. This will only take about a half hour or so. Just as an aside from what I was going to, I'm Meredith Harris, and I live on Main Street. I'm also a member of the Save Mashpee Wakeby Pond Alliance, and I'm also the newest member of the Sewer Commission. I was at the meeting on Saturday, and I did sit at the table with David, and I thought his comments were quite extraordinary and quite facilitating of the conversation, so I thought his being at the table was wonderful. However, the reason why I wanted to have a chance to speak is that I became a member of the Sewer Commission because I really felt that I could make a difference in changing the water quality of Mashpee. I felt as if we are working toward that. I felt as if we were on a roll. However, I also feel that Mashpee has a well-documented history of no progress on water quality of our bays, of our ponds, and of our estuaries. And I started looking at the history. So 1987, 35 years ago, the Sewer Commission was created. And the main thought was to help to solve the water quality at that time with shellfish. Well, what happened? The shellfish have died because of the quality of the water. That was one way to mitigate the problem. Then, so 24 years ago, when the local comprehensive plan was written, there was a mention of quality of water, and the statement that was made was to ensure the cleanup of all existing and future groundwater or surface water contamination sites at Mashpee, that it be expedited. Well, that was 24 years ago. 7 years ago, in 2015, the nitrogen mitigation plan was adopted, and that was to include traditional wastewater treatment, improved stormwater treatment, reduction of fertilizers, growing shellfish, poor things are dying, dredging, bog replacement. So what's been done and what has gone on to change the deteriorating quality of our water? So then last year in May, great hope, the townspeople voted to fund the wastewater treatment to the tune of $540 million. That's a lot of money, but it's an important progress if we're going to be able to make some changes. That was, let's get started. Let's build a wastewater treatment facility. Where are we at this point? So now, then in September 2021, a new proposal or a change in plan was written up to clean up not only the bays and the estuaries and the rivers, but also to include the ponds. Great hope was on the way. That's been stalled now. So there are many people, many boards, many individuals and groups involved in water quality. The town manager, the town engineer, the select board, the Board of Health, Natural Resources, the Sewer Commission, the new Department of Wastewater Management. Are we going to have people who are going to work together? Are we going to have people working away from each other and being divisive so that we'll go for another 35 years before we actually make progress in cleaning up our water? So the specific questions that I have is what efforts are being made in order for us to reinstitute or institute the Sewer Commission? Does it even count? I never knew about this new Department of Wastewater Management. It's not listed under any of the departments. It was established in September of 2021. I don't see anything about it, and I don't understand how it works or not work with the Sewer Commission. The other question that I have is what is going to be expected of the Sewer Commission until it gets reformulated, or if it's going to be reformulated? And that's pretty much what I have to say. How do we get coordinated, and how do we begin to solve a problem that we've recognized, we've planned for? There are 5 plans that I've been able to find over 35 years, and we see our water deteriorating daily. Thank you.
Thank you. John Cotton?
Is there someone else to go?
Yeah.
For it?
Mary
If you don't
Wagon?
mind. I'll go next.
So I wasn't going to speak tonight because I was, you guys have a lot on your agenda, and I wanted to give you kind of a break. But in a way, I'm glad that Mr. Falone said something. Mr. Falone, you're correct. He did not speak on behalf of the board. There was no vote or consensus of the planning board authorizing Mr. Falone to speak on our behalf today. So he was speaking as a resident, not on behalf of the planning board. Last Wednesday, the planning board had a very short briefing from Weston and Sampson, Caroline Wells, and Ashley Sweet about what was going to happen on Saturday. When they told us that we were not allowed to participate as full citizens at the workshop this Saturday, I can imagine how you all, knowing me, how I felt about that. So I discussed it with Caroline Wells, and she agreed that we could participate but not dominate the conversation. When I went to the session on Saturday, I was assigned by a Weston and Sampson person to table 1, and that's where I sat. And I checked with the facilitator. She knew that I was a planning board member, okay? And we worked out that dynamic so that I was listening and participating last, okay? So I wanted to dispel any type of rumor that I was manipulating or overexerting my influence. And I really appreciate Selectman Gottlieb and Selectman Whedon for kind of standing up for me. This is a process that's supposed to be open, inclusive, and fully participatory. I did not represent the planning board, I represented myself. okay? And I will tell you that people are starting to be interested in this. But this sloppy launch, okay, is going to kill it, okay? I do have to say that during the meeting, when we first started in an assembly together, yes, Weston and Sampson, they were very, very, very rude to Mr. Tom Fidella, who is a most beloved elder of this community. They were cut off. He was cut off. We had to yell to get a mic for him, okay? That happened. I saw that. And David, I know you didn't say that, but it happened to you too, okay? But they persevered, and they stuck to their guns, and they got a mic, and they spoke. And they spoke intelligently, professionally, and wonderfully, representing the best interests of this town, okay? So the thing that I was going to talk to you about originally, which I decided not to, was this map, okay? There was a map at our tables, and maybe, Wayne, you can help me pass these out. And if anybody wants to look at this while I'm talking about it. It has a map of Mashpee, okay? When we're talking about inclusivity and being open to people, there is nothing on this map about the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe, okay? There's commercial centers there, okay? Mashpee Commons is there, not Mashpee Rotary, Mashpee Commons, okay? This needs a reset, okay? People have come up to me and told me this whole LCP thing is a sham to just get Mashpee Commons what they want. If you look at this map, that supports that. I can't put that fire out with this insensitivity from Weston and Sampson, okay? I can't deny that, okay? When citizens of the tribe come to me and tell me that they're feeling left out with this map, which was covered our table, was the center of our table, okay? You can't deny that. Okay, and these maps were not vetted, these materials, the process was not vetted by the planning board. I don't know who's making these decisions, Rodney. Okay, because when I talked to Carolyn Wells, she sent me to Evan, and Evan sent me to Carolyn Wells. Okay, I'm getting batted between them, and nobody is listening. Okay, I did the survey that's on this site. I asked Evan to suspend it. Okay? Because it had nothing that a tribal citizen could check off, because it had nothing about them. Had some other things that were wrong, too. And I think Evan did his best to fix it, but this is a real sloppy rollout. And I wasn't going to say this tonight, okay? But my name, again, has been brought up in a disparaging way. In November of last year, Carol, you asked us to tone it down, okay? I've been trying to keep it quiet since November, and I keep getting slammed at public mics. And they are people that work with you in your network, okay? I'm telling you, this has got to stop.
Madam Chair, if I could speak to this map, just from a personal opinion, and I will say for the record, at no time at that LCP meeting did I represent myself as a Board of Selectmen member. I was there attending as a private resident. I was not there representing myself as a selectman to influence anything. Having said that, you know, when we did sit down at the table, reading everything that's on here, you know, what do you appreciate or feel needs attention in Mashpee? Share your thoughts, strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, concerns, and to see Mashpee Commons, New Seabury, Papaneset, commercial centers, you know, the businesses. And then I see nothing mentioned on the tribe, We have 2 nationally registered listed properties, Old Indian Meeting House, the museum. They're national landmarks, recognized nationally as historic properties. And then also the tribal government. You cannot separate, when you talk about the town of Mashpee, and because my day job is historic preservation officer, as such, knowing the history of this town, you cannot separate, when you talk about Mashpee, you cannot separate the tribe. They're one and the same. You can't. And not here. Other places maybe, but not here. And, you know, to look at this map, I was offended, you know, because it does, and I have to say, Mary, I do agree. It sounds like, it feels like, you know, the process is being railroaded. And, you know, the previous document in 1998 had a lot of input. I think they hired over 30 consultants or something to compile that information. And there was a lot of good information. And you could see where the tribal members contributed to it. You know, and I think there's still, most of the stuff in that is still relevant today. And, you know, and I was happy to see that some of the comments that were done throughout the brainstorming session, a lot of them still apply, and they're coming back around. The people are still concerned with similar things. And that was encouraging. You know, so I will say that, you know, the lady Caroline, she was very rude to Tom Fadala, the man that's kind of responsible for preserving 40% of our town in conservation, and a lifetime resident, or, you know, a longtime resident. He's deserved his right to speak. He wasn't out of control. He wasn't saying anything wrong. He was questioning the process and the lack of reflecting on the past document. It's not a reboot, it's an update. And he was saying it eloquently, and, you know, because he didn't pose it as a question, you know, she was really, Carolyn was really rude. And, you know, for me, I'm not comfortable with a project manager from New Jersey coming in the first kickoff meeting, treating our people like that, our citizens like that, and just stomping over their comments, and they're muting their voice. He's earned the right to speak in my book, you know. Right, wrong, or otherwise, hear him out. You know, and she should be replaced as the project manager, in my opinion.
John?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I hope I'm not too emotional when I make this statement, but this meeting started off horribly wrong, in my opinion, very disrespectful when it pertains to the Pledge of Allegiance of someone in the audience.
Speak to this.
Excuse me, I'm talking. Excuse me,
You
can I talk?
and then I'm going to answer. You talk and I'm going to answer.
So when someone does not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, I personally find it incredibly offensive. And even more important, we have members of our military in uniform in this room, and that is an incredible sign of disrespect. Being a veteran, I just can't believe how I feel, but it had to be said. And I'm not going to call out, I'm not going to do the name calling. That is also another sign of incredible disrespect that was also done at this meeting by a number of people. So this is a compounded issue of disrespect, and it's toxic. This behavior needs to stop. And
John, you and I have talked about this in private, and I've explained to you that this is a religious...
You are out of
You and
order.
I have talked
You
about
are
this in
out of
private,
order.
and I've
Williams,
explained to
please
you that
sit
this is a
down.
private religious belief. We do not pledge allegiance to inanimate flags. So I told you I would explain this in public, and you asked me not to, and now you bring it up. Do you want me to explain it?
You are
I
out
will.
of order.
If you want to call me on my religious belief, I'm happy to talk about it in public.
Please take her home. Paul Columba, if you dare. We haven't even started our meeting.
things back together here.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Select Board members. My name is Paul Colombo. I live at 35 Meadowbrook Road, and I am also the Secretary of the Mashpee Conservation Commission. I had no intentions of speaking tonight at all. I just came. I knew Meredith was coming, who is a friend of mine, and I just wanted to offer her my personal support. However, in listening to Mr. Fadula's comments, Mr. Fallone's comments, this is the United States of America. Censorship is something that we do not tolerate. And this is Mashpee, which is in the United States of America. I was at the meeting. I was assigned to table 7. I introduced myself the exact same way that I just introduced myself to you. Everyone at that table knew who I was and what my views were. I explained to them my environmental science background, which you all know because you read my resume. I've been involved in that arena my entire life. I've also been involved in town and city government my entire adult life. And I say to my wife many times, it doesn't matter where you go, all towns run the same. There are personalities, there is the Hatfield-McCoy syndrome, it goes on and on. But what I'm witnessing here, and I know that the tempers are high, and I know that the stakes are high. 6 years ago, I came to Mashpee with my wife. We bought our property. I have seen the degradation of our water quality in 6 years. That's catastrophic. And we are in a catastrophic state, and tempers are high. They have to come down. Town boards, commissions have to work together. I think, in a way, we are all trying, but I don't know the deep-rooted animosities that lie here in the town of Mashpee, but it's apparent that they're there, and they need to be addressed. Beyond that, I will continue to work, as I have for the past 3 years on the Conservation Commission, with our chairman, Chad, and I'll do my best. You know, we address teardowns and rebuilds and septic systems, and there's more coming on Thursday night. And I've got my own environmental views towards them, and I stand to my opinions on every one of them. The water has to be cleaned. In my lifetime, I don't think I'm going to see it, but I'd like to see the eelgrass and scallops come back. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Okay.
No. Just want to throw out there, I want to thank, Mr. Colombo, I want to thank you, Ms. Harris, Mr. DeSorger, all the folks that are here tonight, Marcia, who are providing service to the community at no compensation. Mary, it makes everybody apparently fair game. And speaking personally, bring it on, I'm fine. I do take offense at some of the incoming fire that Carol took, because if you look over the course of the last year, which has been hard and contentious and not our best year, no one has done a better job being more consistent, trying to raise the code of conduct, the behavior, and just simple human decency. So for somebody to come in here and basically imply that they're going to go to the police because Carol's stealing signs, cut it out. And you can tell her I said it. I mean, it's just outrageous. So I don't know how anybody expects us to do our business, do our jobs, if we're subjected to that kind of nonsense. So go home and sleep on it a little bit, people. If you want what you want out of us and what we're here to do, we got to work with us and not against us. And we have to work together. And like I said, want to throw it at me, throw it at me. I hear it every day, all the time. Don't care. Not right.
Second that.
Thank you. Okay, let's do our business tonight, if we can. Discussion and approval of the following resignations. Sewer Commission.
Carol.
Oh, I'm sorry. Approval of the following minutes. Monday, March 21st, 2022, regular session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Discussion and approval of the following resignations. Sewer Commission, members at large, Michael Rapaz, Kenneth Dunn, terms expire June 30th, 2023. Precinct 2, Ann Malone, term expires June 30th, 2022.
Make a motion, we accept and send letters of appreciation and regret for departure.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Affordable Housing Committee, Cassie Jackson, term expires June 30th, 2022.
Make a motion, we accept the letter of resignation.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Discussion and certification and confirmation of the hiring of Council of Aging Director Heidi Mclaughlin. Heidi
Yeah, Madam
McLaughlin.
Chair.
McLaughlin.
It pleases me, hopefully this is the first non-controversial issue of the evening. In all seriousness, Heidi, as you all know, has been the Assistant Director at Recreation for a number of years, and she has a long history with the town, and I am pleased to say that she participated in the process for the COA Director, replacing Lynn Waterman, who recently retired. Heidi did graduate from the Sandwich High School and received a Bachelor's of Science degree from Arizona State University. I think based on her management experience, as well as her demonstrated suitability to execute the essential functions of the job, based on her ambition, her enthusiasm, she will be delivering operating efficiency while welcoming cohesiveness and a productive working environment to serve our seniors. And I obviously not only endorse this candidate, but I also seek the board's confirmation because, again, because she would be a department head, it's not just a certification of the procedures, which I attest have been followed, but also it's a confirmation for the board as a department head.
Want to make a motion?
I make a motion that the board certify both the process and confirm the appointment of Heidi Mclaughlin to the position of Council on Aging Director, consistent with Section 4-2B of the Town Charter.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Good
And
choice. Congratulations, Heidi.
congratulations. We're very proud. And they will be very proud of you, too. Discussion and approval of the award of contracts. DPW Director, Catherine Loren. Hi, Catherine.
Good evening. I'm here for a conditional award for two bids. Both are subject to approval of funding at the May town meeting, but we want to be ready to go once town meeting is over, and I know you're not meeting again until the end of May, which was why I'm bringing to these both to you tonight. Town council did authorize that this would be a proper vote. So the first one is for the Veterans Monument Wall across the street in the community park. This is a project that we've been working on for several years and ran into some hiccups because of the design of the wall and not sufficient funding, which had been approved through town meeting previously through the Community Preservation Committee. So we are going back to town meeting for some additional funding. We have received bids, and I am recommending that we award a bid for the project to Grafton L. Briggs Landscaping, Inc., doing business as Baker Monument LLC, in the amount of $194,200.
Make a motion, we approve the bid and award to Grafton L. Briggs Landscaping, DBA Baker Monument LLC, in the amount of $194,200, contingent upon approval of the funding at the May 2022 town meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Yes.
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 That's good.
Thank you. The second project is the track and field renovation at the Mashpee Middle High School. This project is also going to town meeting for funding through two different sources. Funding is being proposed through the Community Preservation Committee as well as the Capital Improvement Program. We did open bids and received a number of bids for the project, and I am recommending that we award a contract to Green Acres Landscape and Construction Company, Inc., in the amount of $2,509,951. That is for the base bid, as well as bid alternate number 1, which was a deduction. So that's where the number comes up.
Okay. I make a motion that we approve contingent on town meeting funding, the base bid and alternate 1 to Green Acres Landscape and Construction Company, Inc., the amount of $2,509,951.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Our 6:35 public hearing. Application for renewal of a shellfish grant number 006, Richard J. Cook, doing business of Papaneset Oyster Company, LLC, Aquay Bay, 3.3 acres.
Shall we read the notice?
Please.
Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 130, Sections 57 and 60, Massachusetts Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on the application filed on March 22nd, 2022 by Richard J. Cook, DBA Papaneset Oyster Company, LLC, 19 Penn Way, Mashpee, Mass. 02649, for renewal of Shellfish Grant 006, renewal of Shellfish Grant 006, Aquay Bay, 3.3 acres. Said hearing will be held Monday, April 11th, 2022, at 6:35 in the Wacoit Meeting Room at Mashpee Town Hall, 16 Great Neck Road, North Mashpee, Mass. 02649. Plans for the licensed area are on file at the Board of Selectmen office in Mashpee Town Hall, 16 Great Neck Road, North Mashpee, Mass. 02649. Submit comments and questions via email to bos@mashpeemass.gov prior to meeting date and time.
Thank you, Andrew. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Cook?
This is just
And-
regularly scheduled renewal.
Right.
Any issues?
Yes.
Are you changing anything, Rich?
Nothing's-
I'm not, but I do want to be sure that there was an amendment for floating gear on the site, which wasn't part of the original. At the time, there was no Concom hearing, no order of conditions, and I just wanted to be sure that that
Still exists.
that the floating be included per how it was originally approved at the time, which is a very integral part of how I raised my oysters there. So,
Does Shellfish Department have any questions, concerns, issues that you want to make us aware of?
I would just like to say
Could you just
that-
go to the mic, Donovan? Thanks.
Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, I would just like to say that Mr. Cook has no history of any sort of infraction besides minor housekeeping stuff with the department. Mr. Cook would need continuation on his license for the use of floating gear, as the area which this grant 006 is cannot be utilized without floating gear. And it would be my recommendation to approve the renewal for Mr. Cook going forward. Thank you.
Ask Donovan a question before he sits down.
I will.
I want to ask Donovan a question.
Okay, Donovan. Andy wants to ask you a question.
Sorry, sir.
I know that this grant is active and productive, pretty close to what was envisioned when it was permitted, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that true of other grants, the active private grants that we have?
To date, based on the most recent year-end surveys, Mr. Cook is the most productive aquaculturalist in the town of Mashpee. And then it does kind of go in descending order from there, and there are a couple of grants that are pretty much completely inactive, although the issues are being addressed at the moment.
All right, I just want to put it on the board's radar that part of our wastewater mitigation plan relies on shellfish reducing the nutrient load, and not just stuff that's publicly funded, but our share of it is in providing the land effectively, even though it's land underwater, and to the extent people are holding productive areas and not farming them, it diminishes the return we expect. And I think we need to be willing as a community to take a hard look at the reallocation of non-productive and under-farmed grants, whether we take them back so that Donovan and Ashley can put shellfish on the town side in those locations, or someone who will actually farm the land we're giving them. So,
No, I completely agree, sir, and that is something that has been built into the new shellfish rules and regulations, which will be before you, I believe, sometime in May.
okay.
Any other questions?
Just one, I guess you get the gold star, Mr. Cook.
Any
Such as
questions
it
from
is.
the,
I'm throwing it in there.
any questions from the audience? Okay, we can close.
Make a motion, we close the public hearing?
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Okay, now I
I
need,
make a motion that the board approve a 5-year extension, right? 5?
It's actually 10.
10,
wow.
to the maximum term allowed.
The maximum, there is no current term limit
Okay.
in Mashpee, although the new rules and regulations would set a 5-year term limit. So I believe that would be at the purview of the select board, whether he would be grandfathered in for a 10-year term, or whether you would proactively rate him at 5 years.
I'll make a motion, we do a 10 reward for previous good behavior.
I
Give you some
agree with that
certainty
one.
that you can, some certainty that you can continue to invest in this, because it's return for you and for the town. So a 10-year license for site 006, inclusive of previously approved authorization for floating gear.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 You're good.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Mr. Cook, congratulations on the boys. I see an article in the newspaper. It's nice to see their faces. Great job with them. Good
Thank you.
boys.
Thank
Both
you.
serving in the military.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Thank you, Dick.
Okay, discussion and possible action in regard to a November 25th, 2021 fence line incident with the 102nd Intelligent Wing, Colonel Timothy Gordon and Colonel Sean Riley. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Madam Chair. I think this will bring it up here. So while that's launching, again, I'm Colonel Sean Riley. I'm currently the commander of the 102nd Intelligence Wing, part of the missions out on Joint Base Cape Cod. And as a military commander, I think the most important responsibility you have is for the safety and well-being of the men and women under your command. And really, that's what brings me before you this evening. I really want to step through quickly to make sure everyone understands really what happened on Thanksgiving Day. And then I want to be certainly open and transparent and a good neighbor with the town of Mashpee to let you know what I plan to do to prevent a similar incident of happening. And then finally wrap up and ask for your assistance in helping to keep my airmen safe, because we'll start to see the different property lines and such as we go through this. But to put the event into perspective, myself, and probably like many of you on that morning, might have been traveling to see family or friends, or making dinner, or just kind of hanging out and relaxing. But my security forces were very busy that day. In fact, they were extra busy because the president's plane was less than 1 mile from where this incident happened. And we had a security forces member, and she was driving her vehicle along our fence line, and she was going out to check a gate that, if it's opened, accesses the active runway. And she got out of her vehicle, and she ensured that the gate was secured and locked. And she returned to her vehicle, and she was about to start it and pull away when she heard a gunshot, and immediately following that, she heard something strike the vehicle. Now, this young lady was incredibly professional and did everything by the book. She got her a vehicle out of harm's way, back in a safe area at our security forces building, notified her supervisor, and they went out and looked at the vehicle. So I'll just point out the map you can see right here, and I use this map particularly. It is a wooded area outside of our fence line. It's northeast, if you're familiar, of the Moody Pond area. This incident actually took place on federal property. The hunter had about a 10-foot, 15-foot height advantage from where they were standing, where the vehicle was struck. But you can see that line that cuts through above the inset of the pickup truck. That's the beginning of the active runway right there. So this is what happened to our vehicle, and I kind of show these pictures to say that if that had hit the young lady, my airman, as she was out doing her job, that would have been pretty catastrophic. So the vehicle was damaged, and that's not the important thing. My airman was safe. So here's where it really gets complicated. Again, kind of tell you what I plan to do. So at the end of the day, Mass State Police turned it over to Mass Environmental Police, and I'll make a real long story short. They determined it to be a hunting accident. And because the only signage is actually posted along that red line, which is the actual line for Joint Base Cape Cod, they said that there was nothing that they could do, that it was not a crime. It was clearly an accident. And here's where it gets very difficult for me. So the blue is federal land that we own. The yellow is an easement that was signed by the Secretary of the Air Force in 1960. And again, you can see where the hunter was and my vehicle, just over 300 feet. So at the maximum range for a 12-gauge shotgun, really at the maximum range. And there was a lot of questions on to whether or not that hunter could have seen the vehicle or not. Like I said, it was a wooded area. So I'll zoom out one more. So what I plan to do, and Colonel Gordon has it here, we're going to post signage. I'm going to post no trespassing signage about probably closer to 500 feet along the federal. Again, that's the blue area, and the yellow where I have the easement. Where I would really ask for your help and support is you can see the area north of Moody Pond and the sand pit area, that there is quite a bit of distance in there where the Mashpee town line and my fence line are the exact same area. That's that red area, and you can see that there is not an easement or federal property. And then the rest of the property traverses around and ends right where you can see where you're putting in your new water tank. So I can post that. But like I said, I really have no other recourse but to post the signage to keep out. It's a huge area to monitor. I know when Mr. Taylor came out and it was Captain Rose and met with us in January, really it's the signage. I could do cameras, but to really let people know that they can't be out there because it poses clearly a threat and danger. So I certainly like to entertain any questions you may have and look forward to your response. Thank you, Madam Chair.
First, I'm sorry that you had this incident. Anybody have any questions? John?
No, just to clarify, you're going to post those along that 500-foot perimeter? Is that what it is, along the blue line? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. So right now, the blue line is about, it's 100 yards, 300 feet. It was a point of reference. I think I'm going to go out a little further because the projectile carried 300 feet. So 500 feet, and you know, from where you see the Mashpee Dog Park all the way around, and then where I really can't do anything because I don't have ownership of the land and I don't have an easement, is that area north of Moody Pond. Right in there with the sand pits, and then I can pick up the posting right along the easement right around to where your new water tower is. And I know it gets pretty tight in there too as the fence line. There's homes, so probably less likely something would happen in there, but the other area would happen is a very large, wide open area.
Yeah.
So we're going to post these plastic signs that can be easily replaced if they're stolen or knocked down. We're not going to put up metal signs. Similar to some of the other signs they've posted for the watershed. You see them along 130 and such. Try to keep it low impact and just let people know that they can't be in this area. Thank you. Yes, sir.
So the signs that you have, is there any reference to the military jurisdiction or anything of the area? Just out of consistency, if we post the same signs, I think what you're asking is just in the area that's not under your authority, if the town posts the signs at a 500-foot buffer from the red line, then that'll suffice. It'll be
Yes.
consistent with what your intentions are.
Yes, Mr. Weed, and certainly I'm not sure if people use that for recreation, to fish and bike. I would be happy with no hunting up against there. Just, you know, I'm not trying to keep people out, I'm just trying to keep people safe. So something similar, whatever you're willing to do. We've purchased certainly enough signs. Our goal is to have them where you can see, and you can see the next sign from where you're standing. Because then we would have had some recourse. We could have at least, hey, you were trespassing on federal land. And again, I think it's more about the safety aspect. So that's kind of really what I'm asking for, that area right in there.
I'm glad that your airman was safe and, you know, there wasn't anything
Thank you.
happen further than what took place.
Any other questions?
Colonel, just to clarify, are you looking to post the yellow, the whole perimeter of the yellow area, or just the blue line inside?
200 feet.
Yes, Mr. Gottlieb, just the blue line. And I
Okay.
think, like I said, when we originally drew this up, it was 300 feet. And then as it came out, that I think about a 500-foot buffer, you know, no trespassing.
No, I was just looking for clarity in terms of whether you were looking to post the whole easement area or not. You're not. The yellow area.
It will cut across parts of the easement, yes.
But not out to the right of the slide, all the way out to the right.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't understand.
Okay, any other questions? No?
So do you need a vote to authorize the posting?
I think there should be a action by the board.
All right, I'll make a motion that we authorize the town manager to work with the 102nd to post in the area of the fence line as you determine.
As much as 500
500
feet,
feet.
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Up to, 500
Yeah.
feet.
Yes.
If it ends up being bigger, come back to us, but that doesn't serve your needs.
And I just want to emphasize, and obviously, we want to keep the military safe. And that was a tragic accident, but I want to emphasize that this was an accident, and I'm not excusing it, but it was investigated by environmental police, Mashpee Police, and I think the Mass State Police had deferred to the environmental police, like you
Yes,
mentioned.
Mass State Police did defer to the environmental police.
And this was clearly an accident. And again, a very serious one.
Yes.
Especially with the president's plane out there. But I think this addresses the base's concern.
Yes, Mr. Collins, it would. Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Correspondence, old business, new business, additional topics. I'm going to refer to Rodney on additional topics tonight.
Not adding anything tonight.
No. Well,
Well,
we do have something.
You want me to?
yes, could you hand that out? Unfortunately, we do have something that I respectfully request that the board add. Discussion and approval for a letter of support prepared and signed by myself on the board's behalf for the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program, which is Phase 2 of St. Tuit Stormwater Retrofit Design Construction. The reason why you're receiving this as a requested agenda item is because this came in after the posted agenda, and we're also on a tight timeline, and I would defer to the DNR director if you could just speak on the matter as far as, well, first of all, I'd ask
Let me add it to
that you
the
add
agenda.
it,
Sure.
and then I'd respectfully request that she be allowed to talk about it.
Exactly.
All right. Madam Chair, I'd like to request that we add to the agenda a letter of support, a discussion as far as a letter of support to request the resubmission to the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program, second phase, into its stormwater retrofit design construction. That's there?
Second?
All in favor?
Yes.
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 I'm going to abstain. Is this the thing you talked to me about? I'm going to abstain.
Thank you.
So good evening. Here to ask the board for a letter of support for the resubmission to the MVP program, the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness. The first grant round is underway currently, and we're doing our retrofit designs around the stormwater, Santuit watershed, the stormwater 5 concept designs that we're looking into. So we're looking to complete those retrofit designs and get one to the permitting level. So this further funding, if approved at town meeting, would break ground at one of the stormwater design phases. So we'll be taking care of one of the locations that our consultants identified as a problem area in Santuit Pond. I've also been working very closely with the tribe's natural resource department with the SNEP network. So we have 2 projects underway. We're looking to join forces to do more stormwater retrofit design around the Santuit watershed.
Very good. Okay, do I have a motion?
So is that, we need a motion to support the...
Support, letter of support.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
And authorize my signature.
Authorize Rodney to.
As stated.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 I'm abstaining. My organization's written a letter of support of the town and tribes application, so I don't want to be on both sides of the equation.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Liaison reports.
Good luck with that, Ashley.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any liaison reports? Tom? I know you have one.
Well, it didn't work out in our favor. This is for the ARPA funds that were available to the county government. We first came through the federal government into the mass, and we were hoping to get the dollars based on a population match. It didn't work out that way. We ended up that it worked because each of the Assembly of Delegate members voted either for or against that use of the dollars. The other option was that every town would, on the lower Cape, on Cape Cod, would get an equal amount, not based on population. So, and my point on that was, just so you know, is just they're bigger towns, bigger problems, bigger wastewater treatment plants, and we needed that money so that we could move forward with our wastewater treatment systems sooner rather than later. So as it turned out, the vote was taken, and it's based on it works on a weighted
Weighted.
vote. And we thought we were going to do pretty well out of it. We ended up losing on the vote. So right now, the money is in hold right at the county level. We're still looking for alternative ways that we can get that money and move it forward with a maybe more of a compromise between the two sides of the aisle. So, and that's going to take place tomorrow night, actually. I'm sorry, Wednesday night. So, we're doing the best we can. Sorry for the outcome, but we're still working on it. Thank you.
None at this
No?
time?
Andrew?
Not at this time.
Okay. I need you to read we're going into executive, I'm sorry, town manager updates before executive.
Yes. Status of the Select Board legislation, it passed in the House, it's in the State Senate. Regarding the Sewer Commission, a display ad was run in the Enterprise to solicit candidates. And on COVID-19, we did add 5 new positive cases over the weekend. And there was a glitch that I was made aware of with the town website that has been fixed that caused the latest Select Board agendas to not be listed on the front of the Select Board page. Instead, the agenda appeared on the second part of the Select Board page, but long story short, you had to really search for it. So it was a glitch that was brought to my attention, and it has been taken care of, and I just wanted to point that out. Also, we do have a joint meeting scheduled at Tribal Headquarters, May 16th at 6:30 p.m. I just want to point out to the board that apparently the sound system is not functioning, or that's what we were told. So They do have a portable system with 2 or 3 mics that can be used, but I just want to point that out because I don't want to have us get in there and say, well, you didn't mention that. And if you're okay with that, then we're going to continue as planned. But if you're not okay with that, then we have to come up with a contingency plan. So I just want to point that out. And the other thing is in regards to this map, this is the first time I saw it today or this evening. And obviously, I heard the comments relative to some rudeness on the part of consultants, so I will be checking into that because obviously the consultants are paid for through the town, and they need to be respectful, and if they're not, then they will be dealt with accordingly. I believe that's all I have.
I have asked Rodney and Wayne to, at our next meeting, which will be the 25th, to have a public forum to start at 6, because people want to know about the wastewater, about the IA system, and the split tax. So we need clarification, so I thought if we brought in people, that way people can have questions and answers at our meeting, before the meeting. We will have the Board of Health, we'll have our engineer, and we'll have someone from assessing office. And that will be, I think, the 25th. Okay? And now, Andrew, I need you to do the executive session.
I move the board.
Can I ask you a question? If it's a public forum, can we send in our questions?
You may. That would be good, Mary. Thank you.
To Rodney?
Yeah, that would be good. Yes, thank you. Perfect.
So you want to just announce that's because people probably couldn't hear on TV.
Oh, okay, so we will be, when we have the public forum, you may send in your questions to Rodney at the town hall. So we will have your questions on file, and we'll have them answered for the 25th.
I move that the board convene an executive session to discuss strategy with respect to a personal services contract for Fire Chief John F. Phelan pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, with the chair declaring that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the town, and the chair so declares. The board will reconvene an open session upon conclusion of the executive session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Are we good? Okay, we're back in session.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that the board ratify its vote taken in executive session to certify the hiring process and also the selection of Jack Phelan as fire chief, and to authorize the town manager on behalf of the board to execute the contract as presented to us this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Make a motion, we adjourn.
I
Second.
that. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Have a good night, everybody.